All right, it went in.
Driving that train, high on cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed. Trouble ahead, trouble behind. And know that notion just crossed my mind.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Let me introduce myself, Pete Brenner, and I'm here to talk to you about disc golf. It's my goal is to get you interested in playing the sport if you haven't played it before. If you have played it before, I just want to share some of my own ideas about how I've approached it over the years. Got started playing back in 1978 in the Philadelphia area, Fairmount Park, Sedgley Woods, and I got hooked on the sport almost immediately. I went out and played it one time, and I was like, oh my goodness! I was like, I love this. So it's been an activity I've been doing my entire life, and I've built a course here in Eagle, Colorado, and a few others helped build around the state, and I've been involved with the PDGA Professional Disc Golf Association and also the CDSA Colorado Disc Sports Association for a number of years. So I was a tournament director and held a professional tournament here in Colorado on this piece of ground for 8 years. And that was a lot of fun, and it was a great time in my life. That was in the 90s, 1996 to 2005, and we just had a great time. Cool thing was participants were allowed to come and camp here for the entire tournament. So they allow camping in this area for certain events, and it was great because people could come, they could camp here. We held the tournament, and it was just a lot of fun. Okay, so what I'd like to talk a little bit about now are the discs that you use to play disc golf. It's kind of broken up into the different types of throws. So the drive is where you throw from the tee area, and that would be your longest throws, and you use long distance drivers for that type of throw, which I have a bunch here. So we have, you got discs like the Wraith, we've got the Valkyrie. These are Innova discs. I got the Leopard here, is a small, right? XL, which is a Discraft disc. Here's a putter style. This is for short throws. This is kind of a mid-range, a diamond, made by Latitude 64. And so with that said, there's a bunch of different companies that make discs now. Originally it was back in the 70s when it first got started, there were only a few companies that were making golf discs. Frisbees, originally it started with a Frisbee, and then it was turned into specialized discs for disc golf. And Frisbee, these are the first discs that I ever threw playing disc golf. These were made by Wham-O. It's the 86 mold and the 70 mold. These were some of the first discs that came out to play disc golf, and then a company called Innova started making discs, and this was my first Innova disc I had. It's an XD, and it's kind of a mid-range, but originally this was all I had was one disc, and I'd use it and play the whole course with just one disc, and then I kind of gravitated to a couple of discs, and then eventually multiple discs. When I joined the Professional Disc Golf Association, you were issued this particular disc. This was made by Innova, and it's got the Professional Disc Golf Association stamp on it. When I joined, I was 10,230th person to join the PDGA at the time. Although when I started playing disc golf in the 70s, if I had joined the PDGA then, I probably would have been one of the first 1,000 people to sign up with the PDGA. But anyway, we're here to talk about discs. So, you know, I have a lot of discs that I've collected over the years. Part of it was due to the fact that I was a tournament director. I like this one a whole lot. This is Colorado Disc Golf. Cool disc. I think that's an APX. Anyway, you know, me personally, most of the discs I've used are Innova and Discraft discs. But now I use some Latitude 64 discs. And then there's a couple other companies out there, and I'll get to that. I'm not really prepared to tell you all about the different companies that make discs right now. But so that's my little spiel on discs. And you know, I have a bunch of collectibles that are going to be up for sale on the website. So we'll get to that. Eventually I'll have photographs and descriptions about each disc. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about as far as discs go. Okay, everybody. So this is what is called a disc catcher or a pole hole. It was originally invented in 1975 by Eddie Hendricks working with Wham-O, and Eddie was in charge of the Frisbee project with Wham-O Sports, and you know, he designed the Frisbee, and then they started coming up with games which initially you used a Frisbee and you played object golf. So you just picked out a target and you threw from where you were and counted the strokes to hit the target. Then he had this ingenious idea to create the disc catcher and design some discs that were more suited to playing disc golf, you know, a step up from Frisbee golf. So that's part of how that all came about, and I'll be talking about that in other videos down the road. But here I grabbed a few discs that I use for putting. This is an APX made by Discraft. This disc went into production about 20 years ago, maybe even a little farther than that. You got some Innova putters. This is kind of a rock. You got the XD, can be used for a putter. And then more recently, AVRs are a disc, and then they also came out with this XT recently. So I've used a lot of different discs for putting. The main thing is you find something that feels comfortable in your hand. Now I want to just demonstrate a little bit of what happens here. So there's the basket. Basically, your disc would you would throw it up, and wherever it lands, you're going to take your last shot at the basket to get it in. So like this. Okay. This is how we putt. This is how we finish a hole in disc golf. Is a putt. You want the basket. The disc has to come to rest in the basket. If it lands on top, it doesn't count. Yeah, you still have to put it in the basket. If it hits in here and sticks in the basket like that, it doesn't count. It's still got to go in the basket for a finish. Okay, so that is, you know, how you finish a disc golf hole. Is you have to get the disc to come to rest in the basket. So one of the things I like to do, I do this technique. There's several different ways to putt, you know, different techniques. This is called a flip putt kind of thing, where you can go like that. You could do a forehand putt like so. So those are a couple of the techniques with putting. But, you know, it's all, you know, as you learn the game, you find something that feels comfortable. And sometimes different situations will require a different type of putt. So, well, I call it, basically what I do here is I'm putting the weight on my back foot primarily and balancing on my 2 feet. And then I'm bringing the disc straight back into my body. And then a big part of it is the flick. You want to put spin on the disc. So we're flicking it at the basket. Bringing it straight back. Keeping it more or less level. The farther you get away, typically the farther you're going to get away from the basket, you're going to have to aim a little bit higher at the chains to take into account that the farther the disc, as the disc flies in a distance, travels, it tends to drop, right? So as we back up from the basket, we're going to aim a little bit higher. That's what I wanted to talk to you about putting right now. Alrighty, everybody, so here we are. What I'm going to do, I'm going to demonstrate the different throwing techniques, a stable flat shot, a hyzer shot, and an anhyzer shot, going at this basket that's just down here. It's about 100 feet away. It's about 90 to 100 feet away. And so what I want to do, I'm just going to kind of show you. So right now, these are just going to be like flat, stable throws. I'm just reaching back. I'm pulling straight through with the disc, and I'm trying to keep it flat so that it just travels straight at the basket, like so. Now usually you want to throw a little bit right side of the basket because typically the discs naturally fall to the left. So that's more or less a flat, stable shot. Okay, everybody. So that, I just demonstrated more or less a flat throw. Now I'm going to demonstrate the hyzer type throw, where we're going to have the disc on an angle like this. One thing I didn't talk about was the grip of the disc. Typically what I do is I grip the disc like this, and you know, get a fair amount of pressure on the rim, and leading with this front index finger, I have a good nice grip there. Sometimes you can leave the pinky off. I tend to use a full grip. So this is going to be a hyzer where we've got an angle like this, and we're coming from low to high and releasing up here. Now I call this, because this is more or less a pretty short hyzer type shot, I call this a hyzer spike. It's kind of a technique I use in a short distance to hopefully get the disc to go into the basket from this distance. Every once in a while I get those, but anyway, I'll demonstrate that. So basically I'm going to step back on my back foot and then step through and put the weight up on my front leg as I pull through the disc. right, it went in. So anyway, Spike hyzer, I like it because if usually I can land the disc and get it really close to the base of the basket. That way you don't have a long second final putt, you know. It's a real easy way to finish. All right, so after this we're gonna go on and I'll show you the Anheuser style. Alrighty, so now we're gonna do the Anheuser type throw at the basket. And usually this kind of throw, I usually use this if there's something in the way. So if hyzer shots also oftentimes, you're gonna use that type of throw if there's an obstruction between you and the basket and you gotta go around it. Sometimes you'll have to go around it right to left, other times left to right. So this is, you use this Anheuser style shot to go left to right to the basket to get around something. So we're, like I showed you before, we're going to be on an angle like this, and we're going to be pulling it up through, and then we're going to snap it out of our wrist at the end of the throw, and that's going to give that angle, get that angle going on the disc like so. Similar to, I mean, weight starts kind of on the back foot and then finishes on the front foot. So here we go. That didn't turn out so great, but here we go. We'll do another one. I'm a little off. I'm finishing. That's coming out. I'm not getting it far enough to the left. Typically with this type of shot, you want to get the disc out to the left side of the basket because it's going to return coming back to the basket. That's a little bit better, but not exactly where I wanted it to go. So here we go. And that's more like it there. Okay, so you see my disc on the ground there. I got a putt from behind there. I'm about 20, 25 feet from the basket here. So you have to stay behind your disc. And oh, no. Not good. Not good. But anyway, I missed the putt. So, but missed the putt. All right, it went in.
Driving that train, high cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed.